right. Let's bring in Mick Aussie right now. We'll cut the small talk. Mick Aussie is in the house. Mick, good to see you. We'll get into the NFL and your thoughts on the Broncos against one of your favorite quarterbacks, and Aaron Rodgers, this week. But let's talk about the AFL Grand Final here with Sydney and Brisbane. Hell of a match last week, and I'll tell you, Mick, I missed you on Twitter in the middle of the night. I was up watching this stuff, and I don't know if you remember, it was like last year. I remember I was tweeting about the stuff once again. I got to tell you, Mick, there's something about these semifinals, man. I know the grand final's all great and stuff, but it's like the conference championship game. I like the semifinal games better almost. They're always like effing classics, man. Or as they say in Australia, a real ripper of a game last week, that game.
Yeah, it was, mate. The finals have been very good. Any of the 8 teams were a big chance. Well, probably not Carlton, but yes, we have 5th place Brisbane Lions versus top place Sydney Swans. It should be a ripper, but 6 of the past 9 grand finals have been 45 points or more margin. So we do have blowouts, unfortunately, and the Swans got blown out by 81 points 2 years ago to the Cats in the grand final. So they'll be looking to redeem that, absolutely, and I think they can.
Yeah, so who do you like in this game? Because I've listen, I still hold a grudge. It's just one of those games, one of those nights. I've lost a lot of bets over the years, but some of them you remember more than others. And I just remember getting so upset that night. I kept clicking too. I think I had like $1,600 on it by the end of it, type thing, and they were winning, and then they just started falling apart. And I really disliked the Sydney Swans. That was 2 years ago, but they won, and here they're looking to win again here, Mick, and they're on a roll. This team. It seems like it's like all sports, right? You know what I mean? Like the NFL. Well, you got the Patriots on a run, and then there's the Chiefs on a run, or the Warriors and the NBA, etc. Right now, it seems like the Swans are that team right now.
Yeah, they were very good. They were unbeatable in the start of the year, and then they had a bit of a slump towards the end, but the coach might have been training them extra hard, ready for the finals. Now, the Brisbane Lions lost last year by 4 points, so both teams have lost in the grand final in the last 2 years. Something is very key that happened last week. Oscar McInerney, the ruckman for the Brisbane Lions, is out with a shoulder. He just can't play. The guy coming in, Darcy Fort, has only played 2 games. He's a warrior, but Grundy, the ex-Melbourne and Collingwood ruckman, he could get on top in the ruck. And then if he gives the first use to those great on-ballers of the Sydney Swans, they'll get the midfield going and they could run away with it. I think it will be close. It could go either way. But if someone's going to win easy, it might be the Swans. But a very good matchup. Hope it's a ripper.
One thing I noticed about the Lions last week, Mick, that I was very impressed with, that it was a big difference in the game, I thought, was, man, these guys are great passers. Very accurate. Yeah. Like, they get the ball down the field. Like, basically, every time would pass the ball. It was like a jump ball. It would bounce around after. Nothing was crisp and precise. Man, these guys, it's like tic-tac-toe, man. Like Brisbane. Boom, boom, boom. And they got some smaller dudes on the team as well. I don't know the guy's name, the blonde dude. He's a real menace to society, that little dude. Running around on Brisbane. But an impressive team. And once again, it seems like they have a ton of heart, Brisbane. You know what I mean? Like, can they outwill Sydney here? I think Sydney are the better team, but it looks like Brisbane, like they're kind of like they got that team of destiny thing going for them now.
Yeah, look, they could have, and they do have some great little players. And the speed of the handball and the feet, it's a lot quicker than it looks on TV. So whoever gets the ball first in that midfield is crucial. One thing I'm a bit worried about the Brisbane Lions, 3 of their forwards, they're hot and cold. Danaher, Cameron and Hipworth, I can't stand. If those guys don't fire, they are in trouble. But Danaher, the big fella, he's played well lately in finals, had a great game in the last year's grand final. He might come in to do some ruck work to help out Fort. Very interesting game. And a lot of people bet on the best player, the Norm Smith medal. So we can talk about some of those odds.
Mick, the total's 173 for the final. So this thing is tomorrow night at 12:30 Eastern time, 9:30 Pacific. The total, Mick, is 173. What do you think about this? These finals are generally lower scoring, Mick, and I'm an over better, but I don't know. 173.5 points seems like a lot to me. What do you think?
Yeah, it's really hard. Like, the weather's going to be nice, sunny. Now, let's hope it's a quick, fast flowing game, because when they start going short and defensive, that's not good. Footy was better years ago. If it's a quick, fast flowing game, it will go over because it's a beautiful day. But be careful on that. Here's a couple you like, mate. Gabe, a sprinkle. You love this one I heard today. Pays $41 for a draw. So there's a little sprinkle for you. And also, either team to win by 1 to 15 plus 255. That's not a bad bet as well.
I like that. I'm looking at some of the props here, and we get here we go. Player props. Norm Smith medalist. Isaac Heaney plus 450. Chad Warner plus 700. See, like I said, like the Sydney Swans. Remember I called them the Surfer Boys? Doesn't Chad Warner sound like a surfer? Chad Warner, Sydney Swans. Neil of Brisbane plus 700. Golden of Sydney is 8-1. McCluggage is 12-1. Brisbane. Dane Zork 14-1. Any prediction for the Norm Smith medalist here, Mick?
Yeah, look, if you like Swans to win, I would go for Heaney or Warner. Warner was their best player when they got smashed 2 years ago by the Geelong Cats. And Heaney has been an absolute star all year. Pretty boy, short blonde hair, but he's a gutsy, great player. Big fan of Isaac Heaney. Warner. If you like the Lions, McCluggage. Don't you love that name, McCluggage? I like that.
Hugh McCluggage.
Yeah, great name, eh? Or the young kid, Will Ashcroft, at plus $31. So there's a couple, but just sprinkle because it's very hard. I like it like last year. The little native guy, Bobby Hill, came up, took those great marks. So when it's someone unexpected that wins it, that's what I like.
Well, there's always great names in the AFL. Dane Zorko, Brody Grundy. Brody Grundy, man, that sounds like a great wrestler name, Mick. From Nashville, Tennessee. Brody Grundy. Some big dude comes out, Brody Grundy, some redneck. I like this one too. Josh Dunkley, 25-1. But I like those winning margin bets. And so you say 1 to 15. So if we get a close game, then that's going to hit. All right, Mick. So before we get you out of here, we got NFL football. The Denver Broncos. So the Broncos coming off a win, Mick. They beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road. Now they get Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets in the same stadium we just saw the Giants and Cowboys play in. Jets are 7.5-point favorites in this game. Mick, what do you think about your Broncos?
Oh, I think the plus 7.5 would be worth a crack, wouldn't it? They won on the road last week, and Bo Nix finally looked good. He's a big, tall, strong fella, and they were raving about him in the preseason, but we know preseason is rubbish. So he came good. Look, I hope they can get within 7.5, especially because Aaron Rodgers is arrogant these days and a bit weird. Jets are good, though. But I actually like your Bills as well to beat the Ravens. And I think the Colts might win. I reckon the Steelers are a very average team. They're 3-0, but don't like the Steelers, as you know. And I think the Colts might upset the Steelers. There you go. They're underdogs.
I think one thing with the Steelers, I think their defense really is. I think the Steelers are good, actually, Mick. I know what you mean. Listen, the Steelers, if you look at the teams that they played, they've been very fortunate with the quarterback situations that they played, right? Justin Herbert, they didn't have to deal with Herbert. They played against Bo Nix, and Bo Nix in his second ever NFL football game. Week 1, it was Kirk Cousins coming off for surgery. But it's kind of a winnable game again, but I think it's tough. The Steelers guys have not been, like the Steelers they're like 4-20 or something against the spread in the second of back-to-back road games. All right? And when they win the first one. So they won the first road game this year in Atlanta. Then they were historically in a bad trend spot, but they won again against Denver. Then they go home and they win against the Chargers. I don't love this game, but we had a guest on earlier that's a pretty sharp NFL bettor, and he was thinking the same thing, Mick. He thinks that the Colts He thinks the Colts are going to be able to, put points up on the board and force the Steelers to score a bit in this game. The Colts are okay, but I think it's kind of a tough game for the Steelers here. It's hard to win on the road 3 times in 4 weeks. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, look, if you picked every team on the plus, I'm sure you'd make money because there are so many tough games. Even money line this week, like Vikings and Packers, that's a ripper. Vikings are better, but Packers are at home and they're playing well. So Rams and Bears, there's a lot of very tough games. I think the Dolphins will win if Huntley's quarterback. I quite like him, the ex-Raven quarterback, but man, it's tough. It's been absolutely crazy, the start of the NFL season.
Fortunately, though, the Titans and Dolphins, we only have to watch it for 45 minutes. And then the Seahawks and Lions start, make the real Monday nighter. I like these double headers, especially when one of them is so bad. Like the Titans and Dolphins game is. What's your pick for the Seahawks? Seahawks are getting 3.5 points against the Lions.
Oh, I think the Lions will win. I tipped the Cardinals last week because I was listening to too much radio, but no, the Lions I think will win, maybe by 3. And what's the other one? I think the Browns on the plus might beat the Raiders. Raiders are average, but I don't like either team there. So, and Eagles and Bucks, man. I'd like to see the Bucks beat the Eagles at home, come back, bounce back after losing to the Broncos last week. Very tough. Just take the plus on every game, and I reckon you'll make money.
So the Eagles, they're the team that you dislike the most in the NFL? It seems like they're right on the top of your list.
No, Steelers. Steelers and Browns. Steelers by an absolute mile, and especially now that Wilson's there and the Broncos are paying him, makes me feel sick.
Mick
Aussie. A team's paying $50 million for a guy not to be there, and he's on a team that we hate? That makes me sick. So sick, mate. It's ridiculous. All the poor people in the world, and Wilson's getting paid $50 million by the Broncos or whatever it is. America's weird, mate, and stuff like this. I know it's huge. People watch it around the world and whatever, but it's out of control, mate. Out of control. I tell you,
it's not America's fault. It's a sports coach.
You want to get a bit of women action? Katy Perry's playing the pre-game at the AFL Grand Final, so tune in early and you can check out Katy Perry in Australia. She's good.
Hey, Elks or Bombers? Who you got? Elks or Bombers?
Oh, yeah, Bombers. Elks are terrible.
Your source for the win.